There may be a significant overnight price spike for XRP. Furthermore, I'm not referring about a tiny double or triple. I refer to a seismic change that reinterprets the financial system as a whole. This is the so-called fix theory, an idea that the late 𝗙𝗶 came up with, a man with a life story that is nearly as intriguing as the hypothesis. I threw out the completely different script I had prepared for you today. This ought to be conveyed the way Will intended, thus I would prefer to speak directly from the heart and the head. 𝗙𝗶 wasn't simply another cryptocurrency enthusiast speculating. Early in his career, he operated bail bond companies in 27 countries, owned several insurance companies, and conducted business at a level that most people can only conceive. He was a serious businessman. He wasn't just speaking as a fan when he discussed XRP. It came from someone who was knowledgeable about risk, opportunity, and international finance. His fixed hypothesis transforms all of the information we have heard about XRP into a far more comprehensive picture. Before I continue, let me clarify that this is not financial advice, but what follows may cause you to reconsider all of your preconceived notions regarding XRP's price potential. Will's explanation was straightforward but effective. With enough purchases and a few institutional inflows, XRP might reach $5 or $10 thanks to retail investors like you and me. It's simple to visualize. However, XRP was not really designed for that purpose. It wasn't intended to be another crypto scenario. The primary goal of XRP has been to transfer enormous quantities of value since its inception. And I mean enormous. Consider the organizations that Ripple collaborates with. Every day, some of the biggest banks in the world, central banks, and payment providers transfer billions of dollars in value. The bridge asset in this system is XRP. It serves as the oil for the engine that will power the financial system of the future. Despite all the excitement, Bitcoin is not designed to perform what XRP can. However, at the moment, XRP is only trading at $3.19, whereas Bitcoin is trading at over $100,000. Before we go any further, I've put together something that will permanently alter the way you invest if you want to be one of the individuals who anticipates the next wealth explosion. The ultimate wealthy investor guidance may be found in the pinned comment below this video. Discover 100x Stocks, a comprehensive guide that includes documents, videos, and actual cases that demonstrate how to spot assets with explosive growth. You don't want to investigate this further. You should take advantage of this right away to avoid missing the opportunities that are presented to you in real time. Let's return to the fixed theory now. Now, the Ripple has passed the hump. If you have ever worked in sales, you are aware that there comes a time when you are consistently turned down. During its early years, Ripple had to market their idea to unprepared institutions and authorities. However, things are different now. More than 300 significant financial institutions are on board. Court records from years ago even showed more than 1,700 NDAs. That was years ago, too. Just think of how many more there are today. They have overcome the most challenging portion when they are over the hump. They are currently at the sign-up stage. Financial behemoths, international banks, and central banks. These are the players who move trillions, not simply millions. Additionally, the bridge asset XRP cannot remain at pocket change values until those billions begin to move through a blockchain-based settlement system. It just wouldn't have the capacity for liquidity. This is the issue that banks were facing when XRP was at about $50 and is currently at just over $3. The scope of high-value transfers is constrained without causing market instability if there are billions of units in circulation, but the price per unit is modest. In other words, for XRP to carry out its function without any problems, the price must increase significantly. We'll maintain that, in order to meet the liquidity requirements of the new financial system, there must eventually be a fix, an agreed-upon higher price for XRP. Hype isn't the point here. It has to do with function. The price of XRP cannot be in the single or low double digits if it is to settle billions, not merely trillions, in daily transfers. Asking for the precise XRP price is like asking which race vehicle will finish at what precise time in a NASCAR race. According to certain experts, like XDC developer Quincy Jones, you can forecast where it will rank in the financial system, but you can't anticipate it exactly. At the moment, XRP is among the best assets suited to serve as a global liquidity bridge. That alone indicates that it won't stay inexpensive indefinitely. In his lectures, we'll use the example amount of $25,000 per XRP to show the size required. Not as a firm prediction, thousands of numbers have been thrown out by others. XRP was a done deal for a high-value function, with pricing already negotiated behind closed doors, according to the IMF conversation Linda Jones cited. You don't hear that in relation to speculative enterprises or meme coins, that is the infrastructure. Language. This is where the situation becomes even more intriguing. Finally, regulations are coming. We're witnessing a structure for the first time in the history of cryptocurrency that will enable large, actual institutional capital to intervene without reluctance. The missing element has been that, even with the greatest technology, the greatest alliances, and the ideal use case, the industry titans remain on the periphery in the absence of clear regulations. The system requires XRP at its operational pricing point rather than its speculative retail price point once they intervene, flipping the switch. For this reason, the $5 to $10 goals that so many retail investors discuss are only short-term in nature, although those figures may occur along the way and anyone who wishes to profit from them is free to do so. They are unrelated to the true intended value of XRP. The quantity of global liquidity it will move is directly related to the desired value. Furthermore, retail speculation could never reach that amount on its own. You won't just be holding a coin if you're still holding XRP at the end of this transition. One of the most strategically significant assets in the future global financial system will be in your possession. Banks will promptly settle cross-border transactions using the same asset. The same asset that will be used as leverage for large-scale liquidity activities, yield, and loans. Furthermore, as Whale clarified, the objective is not to exit the market early with a few $1,000s in profits. Allowing XRP to fulfill its intended purpose while redefining itself to fit that role is the aim. Now, when you give it some serious thought, picture yourself on the receiving end of that re-evaluation not after it occurs, but before. The fixed theory is more than just a forecast. It serves as a guide for the proper operation of a global liquidity asset. Unless the price of XRP is in line with its intended use, the system is ineffective. This implies that need will be more important in the future than conjecture. Before I go into further detail about how this shift might play out, I would want to remind everyone that if they haven't already, they should get the Ultimate Millionaire Investor Guide, Find 100x Stocks, from the pinned comment. I utilized the same technique to identify prospects like XRP before they reached a turning point. It is so full of examples, documents, and films that it is nearly hard to view the market in the same manner again. Additionally, remember that you can use my Moomoo link to receive free NVDA shares worth up to $1,000 with just a $100